about React and life cycles with useEffect. Okay, so using useEffect or the hook, we can find out or we can track the different states of a component. Okay, mainly there are three states. One is mounting, updating, and unmounting. Mounting is when the component is loaded for the first time. Updating is when the component gets remounted again when there is a state change. Okay, whenever there is a state change, the component actually gets updated and it gets remounted again. Unmounting is when the component is removed from the UI. When the component is removed from the UI, it's like destruction. So the unmounting will happen. Okay, let's see how it actually works. How we can actually track it with the useEffect. Okay, let's go back to the parent component. So I have created a child component here and I have included it in the parent component. So in order to track the states of this child component, we have to first go inside the child component. So I came inside the child component. So what I have done is I have written a useEffect. Okay, it start here and it ends here. Okay, so inside this useEffect, I have mounting here. Okay, just ignore whatever is written here. Just ignore it. Just concentrate on this part. Okay, this is the mounting. Okay, this the useEffect with an empty array. So it means this useEffect gets triggered when the component is loaded for the first time. This is what happens when we have an empty array. Okay, so when the component gets loaded, mounted, we see on the console this message: child component mounted. So this executes for first time or only once. Okay. So next is updating. In order to see when the component gets updated, we are connecting the component to a state variable. So this is a test variable. Okay, this is a state. So I've created a state variable called test, and that initial value is given as 0. And I have connected it to the component via useEffect like this. I'm passing the variable name in the dependency array. So what happens here is the useEffect function gets triggered whenever this state value changes. Okay, so I've written a button here inside the child component where on click of it, I'm just changing the state variable. I'm just incrementing it by 1. Okay, so when I increment it by 1, so whatever the change it is, the component gets remounted. So this message is seen on the console. Okay, so child component updated. So when you run this component and when you click on this button, when the state changes, this function, this message gets printed. So coming back to the last method, that is unmounting. So as I told you, this gets fired when the component is removed. Okay, so how do we write it is we write with a return function. This is also called as a cleanup function. Okay, return. So here I've written a console log function child component unmounted. Okay, so this message gets printed when the component is removed from the UI. Okay, so how to initiate this action? So removing a component from the UI can be done from the parent. So let's go back to the parent. So in the parent, what I have done is I have I have created one more state variable called as showDiv. Okay, for which I'm setting the default value as true. So I'm connecting the display of the child component to the state variable. So showDiv ampersand child component. So this component is shown only if showDiv has true. So okay, so during the first time the showDiv has true and the component is shown, component is mounted, and inside the component it's get updated. Okay, so I've written one more button here using which I am setting the showDiv value to false. Okay, so when the value gets set to false, the child component gets removed from the UI. So when this happens, okay, child component gets removed from the UI. So what happens is this console log method is the message inside this return statement gets printed on the screen. So this is the overall of the three stages of a component lifecycle and useEffects. This is an example that we have built here. So I'm just refreshing it. So you can see on the console log. So we have mounted and updated. Okay. So when I click on toggle child component, so this is the button. Okay. When you click on it, so the child component is removed from the UI and the unmounted function gets triggered. Okay. So this is what you see on the console log. But if at all, if you look at this, so we have when you refresh this, you see that the mounting and updating, it happens twice: mounting, updated, unmount, and then mount and updated. So this happens automatically. Okay, can you guess the reason why? Please comment below.